Viewers, from Tianjin in China, a new global order is taking shape, and at the center of it are India, China and Russia. Ahead of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization, or the SCO Summit, PM Modi held a delegation-level bilateral meeting with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. From the outset, this meeting has been historic. This is Prime Minister's first visit to China in 7 years. And finally, the ties between the two superpower nations are stabilizing after the deadly border clashes in 2020. Bilateral relations and border issues were the core issues discussed in the 55-minute-long meeting. Now, this is clearly what has been discussed. In his opening remarks, we saw Prime Minister Modi welcoming the restart of the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra and confirmed direct flights between India and China that are going to be restored soon. The Prime Minister also emphasized on mutual trust and sensitivity, saying interests of close to 3 billion people are linked to this cooperation. He also asserted that ties between India and China have been improving since their last meeting in Kazan, and India is committed to taking relations forward. His counterpart Xi Jinping also echoed similar sentiments, calling both the countries key players on an international level. The Chinese president stressed that it's important for India and China to be friends and good neighbors, adding that the dragon and the elephant must come together to preserve peace and prosperity in Asia and across the world.
Excellency, हमारे गर्व जोशी भरे स्वागत के लिए मैं आपका हृदय से आभार व्यक्त करता हूँ। पिछले वर्ष कजान में हमारी बहुत ही सार्थक चर्चा हुई। हमारे संबंधों को एक सकारात्मक दिशा मिली। सीमा पर डिसएंगेजमेंट के बाद शांति और स्थिरता का माहौल बना हुआ है। हमारे स्पेशल रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स के बीच बॉर्डर मैनेजमेंट के संबंध में सहमति बनी। कैलाश मानसरोवर यात्रा फिर से शुरू हुई। दोनों देशों के बीच डायरेक्ट फ्लाइट भी फिर से शुरू की जा रही है। हमारे सहयोग से दोनों देशों के 2.8 बिलियन लोगों के बीच जुड़े हुए हैं। इससे पूरी मानवता के कल्याण का मार्ग भी प्रशस्त होगा। परस्पर विश्वास, सम्मान और संवेदनशीलता के आधार पर हम अपने संबंधों को आगे बढ़ाने के लिए प्रतिबद्ध हैं। एक्सेलेंसी, चीन द्वारा एससीओ की सफल अध्यक्षता के लिए मैं आपको बहुत बहुत बधाई देता हूं। एक बार फिर चीन यात्रा के निमंत्रण के लिए और आज की हमारी बैठक के लिए आपका हार्दिक धन्यवाद।
All right, the Prime Minister has tweeted for the first time after his bilateral meeting with Xi Jinping. He says that had a fruitful meeting with President Xi Jinping in Tianjin, I beg your pardon, on the sidelines of the SCO Summit. We reviewed the positive momentum in India-China relations since our last meeting in Kazan. We agreed on the importance of maintaining peace and tranquility in border areas and reaffirmed our commitment to cooperation based on mutual respect, mutual interest and mutual sensitivity. So that's the tweet coming in from Prime Minister. Let's quickly take this across to our guest. Joining us is Suresh Kumar Goel, former diplomat. We have Maj Gen Sanjay Meston, who's a defense analyst. We have Einar Tangen, senior fellow of the Taipei Institute and chairman of Asia Narratives, joining us. Let me come across to you first. Suresh Kumar Goel, the Prime Minister putting out their tweet on similar lines to the statement that we saw coming in earlier from Indian side, where clearly there was optimism expressed not just on Indian side but also as far as the Chinese statement is concerned. Your response, Mr. Goel?
Well, clearly there is a keenness, there is an inclination on both the sides to carry the relationship forward beyond after Kazan and after the difficulties we have had since Galvan, the border skirmishes, the border problems. So there is an inclination on both the sides. I would put it this way, really. As President Xi also said in the bilateral meeting, that in the recent developments, and I'm sure he was referring to President Trump and the way he is using tariff as a geopolitical tool to compel the other countries to bow down to the American wishes or American designs. And President Xi said that under the current and the present circumstances, they make it necessary for India and China to come together and work together with each other. So obviously, President Xi, when he is forcing or he is actually persuading Prime Minister Modi for good relations, etc., peace and tranquility and all those mantras, what he has in mind is a changed circumstance after Trump became the president. We must keep that in mind because it is important that we also need to move forward. It is in our interest also to have better relations with China, not just after what has happened, but China is an important neighbor, a big neighbor, economically very, very important, industrially there is huge potential of partnership in technology, etc., and therefore very important. But at the same time, keep in mind the fact that the compulsions of the current times are making China move towards India for better relations. And how long will it last? It will depend upon what America does or not.
Absolutely.
Therefore,
and in fact, let me bring in Einar Tangen on that.
Please,
Einar Tangen, notwithstanding what's happening as far as the United States is concerned.
Please allow me to complete.
Okay, make your point. Complete your point.
Thank you. And therefore, it's a short window of opportunity for both India and China to make a substantive difference in the relationship for the future. Thank you.
Okay. Einar Tangen, I'd like you to come in on this important point because, you know, notwithstanding what's happening with the United States, the larger question is also about how quickly India and China can resolve their border issues. And while there is some hope of an early resolution of the same, is this a possibility or is this a distinct possibility, judging by the kind of statements that we're seeing coming out of Tianjin today?
Yeah, I think there's a larger opportunity. Looking at what each country can extract for the other, yes, that's important, but it misses the larger picture here. You have gathering in Beijing, although not under the BRICS banner, but referred to, next year, India will be in charge of it. You have 3 of the original 4 BRIC before South Africa joined. They have all been put under the same pressure. Now, the difference is that Russia and China have been avowed as enemies of the United States, competitors, etc., whatever you want to call it. India was not. Now, it is inexplicable what Donald Trump has done vis-a-vis India. He had cultivated the relationship. He'd made it clear it was strategically important to the United States. And then over a period of time, he has completely done 180. Interference in the general election, what happened in Bangladesh, definitely a color revolution that was supported by the U.S., claiming to have settled a dispute he had nothing to do with between Pakistan and India, and then entering into an agreement with Pakistan on an energy issue in Balochistan, which is an extremely volatile region. You start looking at that, and then you add the 50% tariffs. And then the string of invectives coming out of the White House, not only from Peter Navarro, but from the entire administration. Nothing good to say about India. India didn't do anything. So there's only, in my mind, one reason why the U.S., Donald Trump, is doing this. They're afraid that India, which has been close to the United States, could be the balancing power, a leader, taking the a non-aligned world, which, coincidentally, India created that idea, and saying to the United States, stop the bullying, stop this game of musical tariff chairs. We are no longer interested in competing against each other to enrich you. If you want to put tariffs on your own people, you put them uniformly.
Right.
Every country, you want to make it 20% fine. Tax your people 20% and tell them it's sunshine. That's America's business, and it'll be the business of the electorate to decide whether they like it. But for the rest of the world, they're tired of playing these bully games. They don't want to be, held up at the cafeteria by the local bully who's insisting that they give him their lunch money. That time is gone. And India is uniquely positioned because the United States can say, oh, India's against America. All right?
Absolutely.
So leadership is there. Modi is the man who can do this. This is a unique opportunity to stand up not only for India, to reverse the table, to put the bigger bully on the side of the global south, but stand up for the entire world.
Absolutely. And in fact, the signal that's very clearly coming in, and the very fact that President Trump has cancelled his visit to New Delhi to attend the Quad, all of that really symbolizes the kind of changing equations globally speaking. But when it comes to India and China, let me bring in Maj Gen Sanjay Meston. While there's a lot of positivity, we're talking about the Kailash Mansarovar Yatra beginning, we're talking about the flights resuming after a gap of 5 years. There's obviously a lot of positivity. But India has some very real concerns, and those concerns don't just stem from border issues that we've seen coming in from time to time. Galwan, of course, was when it all peaked, but also China's own role in terms of helping Pakistan, like for instance during Operation Sindoor, which has very widely been reported. So India has some very real concerns about how far it can trust China as well.
Yeah, very true. We have two major concerns with China. One is, of course, the unresolved borders, which will continue. And the second major concern is China's open support to Pakistan in terms of supporting the terrorist infrastructure, the terrorism. And of course, during Op Sindoor, they supported it. And of course, the CPEC, which is going through Pakistan. Number three, also, there's another sore point is China's interference in the northeast, and especially in Bangladesh and northeast in Myanmar, in Manipur and all those states. So therefore, keeping these contentious issues, now how do we deal with China? Number one is the border issue. Can the border issue be resolved? I doubt no political party in India or even the CCP can resolve it, because there are a large number of contentious issues which has been actually raised by China, the excision and of course the Arunachal Pradesh. So these are going to be unresolved, but yes, there is an interim way out, and that is what exactly the Prime Minister of India was highlighting, that we have to do effective border management, and therefore the intent being peace and tranquility. And to that effect, we have set up certain mechanisms, the special representative mechanism under the NSA, and of course Foreign Minister Wang Yi of China, and also we have set up the working mechanism for this cooperation, and this kind of mechanism has also been set, and the generals level mechanism. The three generals, one in the western sector, one in the middle sector, and one in the eastern sector, they will directly have a hotline. They will meet the Chinese counterpart and resolve any contentious issues. So, since I've served in these border areas and I commanded the Nathula Brigade, now I can be very, very clear that I think this is a step in the right direction, because resolving the border issues, having peace and tranquility in the borders is dependent on the two sides, the two opposing forces. And that is easy. That can be done. Strict orders need to be passed, joint patrolling can be thought of, and I think there are certain things which are working well. Borders will never get resolved, because China has this excision and of course Arunachal Pradesh. Now coming on to the Pakistan factor, how will China play the Pakistan card? Yes, one positive point is Asim Munir, when he had visited China recently, he was not, he did not have a call on the president. Protocol-wise, he is not supposed to. He only met the vice president and below. But in America, unfortunately, President Trump, I do not know which protocol he followed, and a terrorist, he hosted him for a meal. This is the worst thing which President Trump has done. So China today knows that even Pakistan is, oscillating now between China and between America. Therefore, they will be also now playing their cards quite well, I would say the Chinese, because they now know that even Asim Munir can be, mollycoddled either way. So
absolutely. I think those are 2 or 3 very, very important questions, and I'd like Einar Tangen to answer them. Einar Tangen, One, of course, the big issue between, of course, India and China will be the role as far as Pakistan itself is concerned. With Pakistan's support itself oscillating between US and China, how does China look at that is going to be an important question, particularly when it comes to dealing with India. And there are those who are also saying that perhaps what's happening between India and US could be temporary. And if the tariff issue is resolved, then what do we look at in terms of the India-China relationship, and how do things play out and go forward from there? Einar Tangen.
Okay. So you're asking a lot of questions. First off, let me deal with this issue about the U.S. Maybe it is temporary, but remember this: Donald Trump was elected twice. All right, he has a following, a solid 30% that somebody else could take over. They have the same ideas. They don't like immigrants. They want to close down the number of immigrants coming, or foreign students coming into the United States. They're racist, put it bluntly. They don't want these people. They want them to educate themselves in the U.S. and then go back to their homes. They don't want to keep them there because they'd be a threat. So that is something that India has to decide with itself, whether it is a long-term relationship with a hegemon, somebody who can unilaterally, just because they're powerful, use it. Or does India want to be in a position where it cannot be bullied? That is a decision they have to make. In terms of this idea that there can be no peace on the border, I firmly reject that. People who don't have much imagination, they always see obstacles. Those who do have imagination see opportunities. You know, Narendra Modi saw opportunities in India. He doesn't see obstacles. He sees things that need to be fixed. So this idea that it can't be is nonsense. All right, the fact is the switch isn't on or off. There are disputed territories. There are many things that can be done. For instance, where it is settled, where the line is, they agree. Or it is not settled, they say, okay, we'll treat it like Andorra. We will jointly administer this region for the benefit of all. There are always opportunities out there. The question is, do you have the ability to see them? And those who say it cannot be solved, you know what? They're right. They will never solve them. Only the people who think, yes, there are other things that we can do. We do not have to engage in a yes and no world where you're either on my side or you're not. Terrorism, definitely a threat. It has to be denounced, right? That's what the SCO is about. To the extent there's any actor who is a state actor who's supporting this, but they have to have a trial. I mean, India stands for the rule of law. You do not convict somebody before you show that you have proof. Now, there has to be a robust ability to trace that back. And if it is Pakistan, they need to be punished severely.
Absolutely.
And this is the issue. But get the rule of law on your side, all right? Find entities that can trace back exactly what happened, cannot be politicized. And then the whole world will see that the just result is the punishment of those who stand behind these.
Okay. Maj Gen, I'd like you to comment on this, because, you know, one of the ironies, while, of course, we've seen the statement coming out as far as condemning terrorism is concerned, no specific reference to cross-border terror. And the biggest irony is that when it comes to the SCO, both Pakistan and Turkey are also part of this formation.
Is this question addressed to me?
Yes, yes. Yes, to you, Mr. Goel.
Okay. Absolutely. You're quite right. I do not expect that Shanghai Cooperation Organization will be taking any specific positions on counterterrorism, with Pakistan being present there and Pakistan being such a close friend of China. It's very, very unlikely that any position will be taken which would give satisfaction to India, and therefore we must not even look forward to that. 2 or 3 things. First of all, I don't think that India-China relations, even in the context of the SCO, should be really looked through the prism of only the boundary relations. It's an overall security paradigm. Boundary, I have been dealing with the issue for some time. I have dealt it earlier before retirement. And I found that even lately, even during the issue of Galwan, the interpretation of boundary keeps shifting. And that is the reason that China has not agreed so far, even till today, for even demarcation of where they see the boundary lines and where we see the boundary lines. They are not prepared to have a demarcation of the border because the positions keep shifting. And therefore, I don't think that the border issue can be resolved anytime soon, or it's even a problem that China wants to resolve really. China and Pakistan equations are such that India remains under pressure. And therefore, if we look at the whole security matrix of the region, where China actually tries to keep India under pressure, not just through Pakistan, but through our other neighborhood, BRI is one example of that, we must understand that this part of the relationship will remain under duress. And therefore, we should try and put it in a silo so that it does not impact on the progress in the other areas.
Right.
That is how I look at it. Because the relationship is important, we cannot keep ourselves hostage to just one country or two countries. Strategic autonomy is all about really building relations with every country, and China is an important part. So I think we should really go in the direction of building relationship in technology, economy, employment, blah, 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 etc.,
All right.
where we can both really work together.
All right. Ambassador Goel, as well as Maj Gen Sanjay Meston and Einar Tangen, I'd like to thank all three of you for joining us and breaking down all of these developments. Of course, we're going to continue to look at all the developments coming in, but this exclusive ground report that my colleague Swati Joshi has said, shifting the focus from the big-ticket bilaterals, where, of course, she has been exploring China's advancements in the sector of artificial intelligence. Take a look at this report.
So, of course, the focus of the SCO summit is going to be on the bilaterals, the negotiations, the trade talks, and most importantly, how are the leaders approaching the issue of tariff. But apart from that, there's a lot happening on the sidelines of the SCO summit at the media center. Here, right behind us, is the Science and Technology interactive display. And I am being told that here in this space, they can create my AI digital human. So if I record a piece here in English, the AI digital human would be able to broadcast that in Russian and Chinese language as well. Come, let me show you the space. So this is the space. This is where I stand. And I'll deliver a piece for just 30 seconds. Once that is processed, I am being told that my AI human digital would be able to broadcast that in Russian and Chinese, the two languages that I definitely cannot speak. So let's start. Hi, my name is Swati Joshi. I'm here in Tianjin to cover the SCO Summit. It is a significant moment for India. The Prime Minister is visiting China after 7 years. All eyes are going to be on the bilateral between Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the Chinese President Xi Jinping. Apart from that, the Prime Minister is also going to have a bilateral with the Russian President Vladimir Putin, and our focus is going to be on the outcome, on the objective and the mutual concerns of the members. So now that I'm done with my piece, I'm being told that over there, this is going to be processed. Come, let's take a look. Let's take a look. Here are some systems that have been kept here, where my AI human digital avatar is going to be created, and then that avatar will deliver the same piece that I recorded in English in Russian and Chinese as well.
2025年上海合作组织峰会新闻中心已于8月28日正式启用，选址天津梅江国际会展中心2期 S2 展厅，总面积约12800平方米。新闻中心主视觉以渐变蓝为主色调，整体规划为综合服务区、媒体公共工作区、新闻发布区、广播电视技术服务区等8个功能区域，为近3000名中外注册记者提供广播电视、新闻发布、峰会